What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires, and with absolutely zero heads up, I was not prepared for today, where apparently instead of us getting that major Hall H presentation that would have been next week at San Diego Comic-Con, but of course Marvel Studios is skipping this year, they decided to do this announcement and through the media instead, where we got three major articles from The Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, and Variety outlining a new 7-year plan and including direct references to rebooting the Blade franchise. Yes, they are still doing Blade, talking about recasting the X-Men and even recasting Tony Stark, although he went on to say that recasting is a scary word. We are breaking it all down, the brand new Marvel Studios announcements that, again, this would have been basically a live presentation. Instead, we're getting it through the media. There is so much to go over. Lock in. We're breaking it all down. But first, if you could quickly grab that subscribe button, it enters you for the giveaways. It supports the channel. I would sincerely appreciate it. All right, let's dive in. Okay, so first we're going to start off with the Deadline article under the headline, Marvel boss Kevin Feige on his future at the studio, Blade update, and why Fantastic Four needed a reboot. They go on to report, quote, when it comes to the future of Marvel Studios, which has taken its licks this year with Misfires, Thunderbolts, and Captain America Brave New World, the #1 superhero box office brand isn't letting up. Marvel Studios producer and president Kevin Feige hosted a sit-down with the press at Marvel's Burbank HQ, gesturing toward a series of locked doors in a meeting room. It's a 7-year plan, teases Feige. I think it goes to 2032. It's on magnets, it can move around. Okay, so first big takeaway is that he did a sit down with the press, and basically all of these articles are doing their own take of reporting on all the things he said. They had the exact same access, but they have a new 7-year plan that's going to take them through 2032, and if history repeats itself, it'll have a couple of delays, probably end up wrapping around 2034. Now, this plan clearly includes Blade, and Kevin Feige talked about the project candidly for the first time in a long time. Deadline goes on to report, quote, speaking of Blade, despite being taken off the calendar, the project remains in development, with 2-time Oscar winner Mahershala Ali still attached. The movie with the actor was first announced at SDCC 2019, with Ali taking the Hall H stage in what was then a huge announcement of the MCU plans across cinema and Disney+. Feige revealed on Friday that while there were 4 versions of Blade in the works, 2 of them period, one of them set in the 1930s, where we know now, of course, that the costuming from that went over to Sinners, quote, we landed on a modern day, and that's what we're focusing on. So we are getting Blade, Mahershala Ali is still playing Blade, and they're doing a modern day version of the film. He continues by saying, I'm pausing Blade after the exit of 2 filmmakers, Yann Dimanche and Basim Tariq. Feige says, we didn't want to put a leather outfit on Ali and have him start killing vampires. You can start and have a good script and make it a great script through production, but we didn't feel confident that we could do that with Blade, he continues. We didn't want to do that to Mahershala, and we didn't want to do that to us. And as Deadline reports, apparently one of the reporters went as far as to ask, hey, Ryan Coogler just killed it with a vampire movie, why don't you have him do Blade? Feige said that is not the plan. He's going to do Black Panther 3, which we now also can confirm is a part of this slate that includes Blade, Black Panther 3, and the X-Men reboot. Speaking of which, and this coming from Variety at the same press conference under the headline, Marvel plans to recast the X-Men and eventually Tony Stark after Avengers Secret Wars, but reboot is a scary word, says Kevin Feige. They go on to report, quote, the all-new X-Men are coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and an all-new Tony Stark will eventually join them. In a wide-ranging conversation with press on Friday, Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige confirmed that, following the events of 2027's Avengers Secret Wars, the company will recast the superpowered mutants for the upcoming X-Men movie directed by Jake Schreier. They go on to say, quote, many of the actors who starred in the X-Men movies of the 2000s and 2010s are reprising their roles in 2026's Avengers Doomsday. In future films, however, X-Men characters who appeared in the previous movies will be played by new actors along with mutants making their big screen debut. The decision echoes changes in the composition of the Marvel Comics following the 2015 Secret Wars storyline, which involved multiple timelines collapsing and reconverging, mixing up the characters of the main timeline in the process. Quote, we're utilizing that story not just to round out the stories we've been telling post-Endgame, just as importantly, as you can look at Secret Wars comics, it very, very much sets us up for the future, Feige said. Endgame literally was about endings. Secret Wars is about beginnings. But Feige was also careful not to characterize the changes as a reboot. Instead, the executive said Secret Wars will serve as a reset for the MCU. Reboot is a scary word, he said. Reboot can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Reset singular timeline, we're thinking along those lines. Later he added, X-Men is where that will happen next. Okay, so let's pause here for a second because this is a major confirmation and coming from the guy who is in charge. They are now confirming that this isn't a reboot, so to speak, but a reset, where we're going to see one timeline, one main continuity, and leave the multiverse stuff behind. And at the very same time, you can expect an end to the cameos from the previous cinematic universes. Fox X-Men universe, Fox Fantastic Four, even the Spider-Man universes, all of that will be left behind as they move into one singular timeline. And he's saying really kicking that all off with the X-Men. So he kind of confirmed there that the X-Men will be the next film to come out after Avengers Secret Wars, because he said that's where that will start, that new timeline. Expect that to be announced as the first film in 2028, probably in the May slot there. I will also say that all three of these articles mention quotes from Kevin Feige about the future for Deadpool and Wolverine and seeing those characters again. He said, for now, let's just wait and see where it goes, but it's sort of implied post-Avengers Secret Wars, and that would mean, indeed, with Ryan Reynolds staying Deadpool, we would also get Hugh Jackman staying around as Wolverine. But I think all of that, like he said, is on magnets, and they are truly looking forward to one main continuity, and in that, I could also see them making the hard decision to recast Wolverine, especially if they're eventually going to recast Tony Stark. Speaking of which, the article continues, quote, even more intriguingly, Feige also indicated that other Marvel characters will eventually be recast, including its most iconic roles, like Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. He pointed to many other major film franchises that have done the same thing multiple times over. Quote, Amy Pascal and David Hyman are now searching for a new James Bond, Feige said, referring to the producers of Amazon's MGM's upcoming Bond film. David Cornsweet, the new Superman, he was awesome. That will always be the case. Feige acknowledged that stars who've retired their original MCU roles like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans have made it difficult to imagine anyone else in the character's shoes, but that isn't an impossible task. Quote, I think it's hard for anybody to do that when an actor has done such a great role, he said. How are they going to ever replace Sean Connery as James Bond, right? At least two legacy actors may still appear in the MCU as well. Asked about his plans for a follow-up to Marvel's 2024 blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, Feige, in typical fashion, made no definitive statements, but also did not close off any possibilities. Quote, I think there is more fun to be had with both of these characters, he said, but we'll see where. And I'm just going to come out and say it now, you don't recast a brand new Iron Man and not give him his own franchise. So yes, I truly believe that this is a subtle way of saying somewhere down the road there, Phase 7, Phase 8, Phase 9, in this next saga and beyond, we are going to see an Iron Man 4. They may not call it that if it's a new actor in the role. They may spin it, call it, say, the Invincible Iron Man or something like that. But there is a new Iron Man on his way eventually to join the fray, just not before Robert Downey Jr.'s had his fun as Dr. Doom. Okay, so a lot of stuff packed in here, and honestly, guys, this was a pretty satisfying way to do an announcement, just have a press sit down instead of the San Diego Comic-Con presentation. Of course, not the same for the visual and the aesthetic, and for the fans who are in attendance for SDCC this year. Of course, we're always hoping for a major Hall H, but man, so much as a takeaway from this. I am so stoked, and it's awesome to hear A, we're still getting Blade, B, that there is a plan here in place now that takes us through the next 7 years for this X-Men saga, whatever they'll end up calling it, Mutant Saga, be it that, Timeless Saga, whatever it ends up being, Cosmic Saga. There are so many possibilities. I'm so hyped for this, man. The future of the MCU is looking bright, especially with all the reactions we've been hearing about the Fantastic Four. Speaking of which, we have some giveaways lined up for the Fantastic Four at the end of the week. We're going to be announcing a brand new ticket winner tomorrow and a couple more times before the movie drops on Thursday, and a brand new PS5 on Friday for the movie hitting theaters. If you want to be entered to win or for any of the future giveaways, all you got to do is be a sub, leave a comment, because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit that notification bell with all notifications turned on, and as always, I would appreciate it if you hit the like button. My name is Michael Roman. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at @IamFires. Find me on all other platforms with the name All Fires with original music, including the song you're hearing in the background. Thanks to everyone who's been clicking through. 2 of my songs have started to take off on YouTube and Spotify. That's because of you guys. Thank you so much to all who have already done that. If you haven't already, just a couple of quick clicks to my music is a great way to support me, but no worries. Thanks for checking this channel out. We have a lot of content to get through. We'll have another video coming tonight, 2 more videos tomorrow. I will see you in one of those. Peace.